Welcome to the Boxing Talk Show. Fair but firm with the Hall of Fame boxing referee. I'm Joe Cortez and co-host John Zamel for all of Las Vegas. Come on, guys. Let's touch them up. Clean fight. I'm Joe Cortez. Fair but firm.
Hey, welcome to the Fair but Firm Show here, Las Vegas, Nevada, the boxing capital of the world, with my co-host, none other than a good-looking pretty boy here, John Zimmel.
Thank you, Joe.
John is one of my favorite co-hosts because he really talks the game the way it is, and that's what we like to hear. All our fans around the world say, John, you're on every day. Every time we can talk about boxing, that's what we want to hear. I'm so proud to have John with us because he makes me look good.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you saying that. I think you make you look good, but I appreciate that, man. I'm excited to be doing the show. I'm excited for all the success of the last couple of shows. I really appreciate all the fans that have come in, all the followers we've gotten, all the subscribers, everyone who's shared, everyone who's watched, everyone who's enjoyed our shows, especially people who've commented, bad, good, ugly. I appreciate everybody who's reached out. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for giving us the platform, because without you guys, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you have any questions about the ending with boxing? I know somebody asked last week about the mouthpiece situation when Keith Thurman took his mouthpiece out. Got hit with a body shot. He was trying to catch his win. He took his mouthpiece out. There's no point deductions for that. The only point deduction is when you spit out the mouthpiece intentionally, or at the referee. Like, I'll give you an example when Jose Luis Castillo fought Diego Corrales about a good 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Corrales went down and he spit out his mouthpiece intentionally just to get a little break.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Weeks took a point out, took a point deduction. And, that was rightfully so.
Oh, yeah.
Because it took him a little, in other words, he capitalized by spitting out the mouthpiece. But when you're not doing anything really wrong, just to catch a win, I mean,
he's just grabbing a breath. I mean, he wasn't trying to stop the clock. He wasn't trying to gain time. He was trying to breathe.
Yeah.
I don't see why you would take a point away from somebody breathing.
Right. So anyway, but with Diego Corrales, he was able to recuperate from that knockdown, spit out his mouthpiece, and came back.
Anthony Joshua tried a similar situation against Andy Ruiz. You saw him do the same thing.
Exactly.
He didn't get a point taken away, but that's different than what Keith Thurman was doing. Keith Thurman took it out with his hand, had a few deep breaths, and then put it back in.
Yeah, there's no point deduction for that. So anyway, for you fans, some of those questions you want to ask, please ask them anytime. We'll try to answer you these questions live on the air. Dillian will be giving us the information. The questions that you're asking, we'll be more than glad to respond to you the best we could.
Absolutely. Those of you those of you watching us on YouTube or listening to us on iTunes or Spotify or anywhere else, wondering how you could ask us questions live. We do this show on Facebook Live, is where we first broadcast it on Mondays every single week at the exact same time, 1 o'clock Pacific time. So if you ever want to catch us live, if you ever want to ask us any questions live in the moment, please refer to our Facebook pages and you can watch us through that.
Yeah, now's the time right now.
Boxing TV is the channel that we distribute from. So if you're on YouTube and you want to know how to get to that, a lot of our followers have asked me that. That's how you do it. You go on Facebook Live, you go to Boxing TV, you start following from there.
Okay, great. So we have a lot of the fans from all over the world, especially for the Philippines. We have a big fan base from the Filipinos with Manny Pacquiao.
I appreciate it.
We keep thinking about Manny Pacquiao. Everybody say, every day somebody stops me, Joe, Manny Pacquiao. But didn't he look outstanding when he fought the other day with Keith Thurman? I say he was really, to me, going down the books as one of the greatest of all time because of what his accomplishment. The thing is that he's 40 years young, and to be 40 years of age, to still be able to just give so much excitement to the world, to prove to the world that you still got it all.
And it's not like he's a heavyweight who started banging at like 26 and eventually worked his way up. No, this is a guy who won a recognized title. I believe the WBC title at flyweight at 19 years old, and now just won the WBA welterweight title at 40 years old. This is insane. This is over 20 years of sustained dominance. I don't know what more you could even say about something like this. To say that he's not in the greatest of all time conversation is abysmal at best.
Exactly. This is like George Foreman when he won the heavyweight championship and knocking out Joe Frazier. Then comes back 20 years later and knocks out Michael Moore at the age of 45.
That was just something else, man, as they all are.
So those two guys, you got so many fighters now that are fighting, they're developing later in life.
A lot of times you see that.
And I think it's because of the conditioning that the way you're eating today, the proteins.
Maybe.
A
lot of times they start late. Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, they started real late, man. They were already like 19 in their 20s by the time they actually started boxing, as opposed to, you look at Gervonta Davis. I was watching videos of him when he was 9 years old this weekend in little sparring matches.
Right.
That dude, how great was he this weekend, by the way?
No, he was outstanding, but he looked great stopping Ricardo Nunez. He looked great stopping him, and I think Gervonta Davis, I mean, Floyd Mayweather, a sharp businessman that he is and a promoter, he has Gervonta Davis as one of his golden goose in boxing.
Absolutely, brother. He knows it. He knows it's something exciting when he sees it, and he's got it.
Yeah.
I mean, he can see it. Gervonta Davis is really that guy, though.
Yeah.
You know, Gervonta Davis was the #1 trending thing on Google.
Yeah.
That weekend, he was the number one trending thing.
Well,
There was 2 different Twitter videos showing his knockout sent by 2 different things. They both had over 1 million views. Yeah. Gervonta Davis is a rising superstar.
He is.
I mean, if you're not on board with him, then get out of his way, because that guy is about to be. Now, what is next for Gervonta Davis? That's my next question.
Well, you know, now he's a 130 pounder, so I mean, not even that. He for the 126.
130, yeah, 130.
130, okay, so 130, and so where does he go? He's not that tall, so you can't say he's going to go up to much more than lightweight.
He'll probably settle at 135.
135.
Yeah, that'll probably be as big as he gets.
Yeah, because he's not that tall, and you know, you're going to go into a higher division, 140.
But he has had trouble making weight in the past a few times, so it wouldn't be surprising if he settled at 135. 140 is a little big for him, though. I agree with you.
I think 140 would be the max for him, but not gonna say it's not going to happen. It can happen.
It could happen.
But I mean, he's definitely a great puncher, a great boxer that brings great boxing skills.
And there's a lot of excitement in that 140-pound division right now. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, he had a good sellout crowd in Baltimore.
Yeah, he sold out Baltimore, 14,000 some. I mean, that was more than there were fans of the Pacquiao fight.
Yeah,
now
exactly.
the ticket price was a lot different, but this is a big deal. I mean, Terrence Crawford, the most tickets he ever sold in his hometown in Omaha is around 13,000. So he's already outselling hometown views.
Yeah, well,
I mean, this guy is really that good.
Yeah, and that's only the beginning of his career.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's only starting out. He's only 22 years old, 23.
Yeah, 22 or 23.
Yeah, and I can see him going places in the boxing. I mean, he's already a household name out there.
Absolutely, man. The guy's a menace.
Yeah.
Now, we also saw on the other side of the street, we saw Tevin Farmer also on Saturday.
Right.
He beat his French mandatory, Guillaume Frenois, and he wasn't able to put him away. The fans were booing. They said, you got to perform a little better than that. But Tevin Farmer's a defensive fighter. He always has been. He's a very good defensive fighter. He's not the most exciting.
Yeah.
But I see those two on an absolute collision course, and they've been talking about it for a long time. And I would love to see the two of those fighters fight before the end of the year. I mean, that would be an awesome unification.
Yeah, it would be. Talking about unification fights, I mean, what's going to happen with the again going back to Manny Pacquiao? I mean, who's going to fight? I mean, then you got Sean Porter fighting Errol Spence. That's coming up.
That's a unification right there, baby. That's a big one.
That's going to be a big one. So that was Manny stay on the sideline, wait for the winner of these two fights of this fight, or they're going to just wait and leave Manny
just
for
defend
next
his
year.
own title. I don't know, man. I don't know what he does. I mean, he's a title holder himself right now. I don't think he's in a rush to fight those other guys. I don't think he's scared of anyone. Don't get me wrong. But he also, I mean, he's a businessman. He's smart. He's not fighting Deontay Wilder next. You know what I mean? So I just don't see him jumping up to fight Errol Spence right now. And when I say jumping up, I know they're in the same division, but Errol Spence is bigger, a lot bigger. And I think Errol Spence will probably beat Sean Porter, and I just don't see him in a rush to take that fight when he's got other options around the corner. Manny Pacquiao could sell out, any arena in America or the Philippines or anywhere and make, $4 million fighting anybody.
I think he goes in there by himself, do some shadow boxing, he'll sell out the arena.
He would. I mean, that's what you're talking about. That's how
popular
great he is. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the Philippines, I'll tell you, he's a senator in the Philippines, and you think one day he'll run for president?
He's talked about it.
He talked about it?
He's talked about it. I don't know, though. I think he's too busy, man. The president is a lot of work.
Well, I'm saying, I'm talking about when he retires from boxing. Would that be an option that he has?
Oh, no, I figured you meant when he retired. But still, I don't know. I think he's talked about it, and I'd like to see him.
I mean, if he's not going to be that busy, I mean, after retiring from boxing.
Yeah, he goes, you know what? I'm going to just retire and run for president.
Why not? I wonder, that's a good question.
Nice, relaxing job after all that.
I don't know about relaxing. But I mean, be a tougher job, 10 times tougher than being a world champion.
Yes,
yeah. But I mean, he's so well loved by everybody around the country, and I think that it's going to be interesting to see where he goes from there.
Absolutely, man. I love everything that guy's done. He's absolutely outstanding. I'm so excited to see who his next opponent is. I really can't wait. To be honest, though, I'm not sure what his ceiling is from here. I think Keith Thurman was the perfect opponent for him, and I'm not diminishing his win. I went out of my way to say that this puts him in the greatest all-time conversation, which he was already in. I went out of my way to say this is one of the biggest victories of his entire career. I went out of my way to say that this is it. This is Manny Pacquiao at 40 years old, become a welterweight champion by beating an undefeated former unified champion. This is what we're talking about here. But at the same time, He picked an opponent off 2 years of ring rust, a guy whose style is almost tailor-made for him, and it was the right place, right time, right opponent.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much higher he can fly at this point. This might be the peak, the end of the peak. You know what I mean? But
You never
then
know.
again, I'm done doubting Manny Pacquiao. I'm done.
Talking about done, how about the performance-enhancing drugs? One of the viewers out there is asking, what's my thought about fighters using performance-enhancing
Just
drugs?
in general?
Yeah, I mean, I really think that what happened the other day with White.
With Dillian White, we should
Dil-
explain
Di-
that
Di-
situation.
Dillian White in the United Kingdom, he came out positive after fighting Ramirez, but there's something funny happened there. You have a little more.
Yeah, you want me to go into that? Okay. Now, there's a lot of gray area here. There's a lot of, Eddie Hearn and White and his team keep saying there's going to be more information. So we're not exonerating anybody, but this is what we know. His A sample failed the drug test. It failed for, I think, Dianabol, something like that. And he knew, his team knew, and the BBBOC, the British Board of Boxing Control, I believe, they knew. And they still let him go on and fight. They did not tell his opponent, Rivas. Now, we have not gotten the B sample back yet. That could completely exonerate him. It could find out that it was a mishandled sample. That's entirely possible. But more than likely, he failed the drug test and was still, without his opponent knowing, and was still went into the ring with him. And after the people that we've lost in the last few weeks, which we'll go into and we'll talk about that a little more extensively, I just don't see how there's any excuse for not letting your opponent know, not letting an opponent know that he was going in against a guy who had just failed the drug test. I just don't see an excuse for that, and I don't understand it. And maybe the clarity that'll come out of it will illuminate some light on it. Maybe he'll be completely exonerated. Maybe we'll find out that, this isn't it wasn't as bad as it seemed, but right now it seems bad.
All I can tell you that this is bad for boxing. It's a black eye for boxing. Anytime you hear about fighters not passing the drug test, we don't need this in boxing. I mean, it's happened already several times in the last year or so.
We see it all the time.
It's just too much. We don't see it anymore. It's happening in MMA, happening in boxing.
What stops it, Joe?
Huh?
What stops it?
My
Harsher
fist.
penalties?
I gotta punch him in the forehead.
You gonna punch everybody in the head?
Yeah, wake him up.
Well, they got the drugs that make their forehead stronger.
I'll tell you, these guys got to realize you got to stop all this nonsense.
What do we do, though? What do we do? Suspensions? Higher suspensions?
Suspend automatically for 1 year.
A year, no matter what.
No matter what.
Isn't that the rule? I mean,
well, you know what, man? Suspended for 2 years.
Okay, I'm seriously asking. I really want to know here. What do we do?
And if you do a second time,
lifetime ban?
3 times, you're out.
3 strikes, you're out. Lifetime.
3 strikes, you're out. Lifetime.
I think it's like that in baseball or somewhere.
Well,
there's some sport where if you fail a third test,
third time you're out altogether. And not those fighters out there will say, you know what, I better get my act together because with 3 strikes and I'm out. You don't want to do it. There's no reason for it. I mean, how can you look in the mirror and say to yourself, I'm the world champion, I beat the best out there? No, you can't be saying that if you're cheating. A cheater, I don't know. I just don't go with that.
Especially, I mean, we're talking about a sport where people's lives are on the line here. We're talking about a sport where we lost 2 of our fighters this week. Maxim Dadashev, the Russian fighter, and we lost Hugo Santillana, the Argentine fighter.
Right.
I mean, this is a fight. I mean, we talk about this all the time, man. And we sometimes, you talk about, look, I'll go into this right now. This sport is life and death. This sport is as serious as anything you could ever imagine. And when you see a fight like the Gervonta Davis fight this weekend and you see fans screaming about an early stoppage, or you see fans talking about Anthony Joshua quit after his 4th knockdown with a concussion, I mean, this is the manliest sport in the world. Do we really need our fighters to die over and over again just to prove how tough they are?
John,
is that what we need in this sport?
John, let me tell you something. Me as a referee, I've been refereeing some of the best fighters in the world, around the whole world. And I can tell you one thing, that I think it has a lot to do with dehydration. I mean,
that's what they say.
If you're knocking off so much weight, what happens is if you get I saw something online the other day, yesterday, a guy named Alfonso Gomez, and he did a little demo about an egg in the glass with water and the other glass with no water in it, or very little water. And they were saying, if you're a fighter, you get hit with he was punching the glass with the egg and the water, and everything was okay. That's a fighter that's healthy. A fighter who's losing all his weight, there's not enough fluid in his body. The same thing happens to your skull. There's not enough fluid in there.
Andre Ward tweeted
So then if you hit that glass with the egg in there, you see all the shells are cracking up and breaking. Same thing happens to your body.
Absolutely.
So if you're over dehydrate, this is what happens. You're not going to be there, and why risk it? Why find a different weight? Because you're trying to make weight come down 20 pounds, 30 pounds, you got a late notification. You're going to be a substitute, and then you got to take off 30 pounds, 20 pounds within a 3-week period. That's going to hurt you.
Oh, it's going to hurt you, and it could kill you.
It can kill you. And we don't want to take those chances. That's what's bad for boxing. We lost 2 fighters in a week's time.
It's average that it's estimated that we lose on average 10 fighters a year. That's the sport we're talking about.
And
that's how deadly this is. But I also want to address one more thing, and I wasn't sure whether I was going to do it, but I decided I'm going to. There's something that, because of the inherent risk in boxing, and there is, like we said, an inherent fatal risk in boxing. There is this sort of reprieve on criticism that we believe that fighters get, that we can't discuss. We can't analyze who's good or what matchmaking. So when I say that we need to respect every fighter that walks in the ring, that we need to give the utmost respect to everyone who walks in that squared circle, I could not be more serious about that. They are risking their lives for our entertainment, and there is nothing more to be said about that other than that. That when we see guys, that when we call early stoppages, or we call guys quitters because they know Moss or whatever it is, there's nothing more manly than getting in that ring, and it doesn't matter how it ends. There is nothing tougher than that. But there is no reprieve on criticism. When we say that Canelo Alvarez fighting Rocky Fielding is a travesty because Rocky Fielding isn't good enough, Rocky Fielding is not disallowed to be criticized because he's a fighter. There are levels to this game, and there are certain fighters that are certain levels above. We are criticizing the matchmaking. We're not criticizing the manliness. We're not criticizing the toughness, and we're certainly not criticizing this man's decision to get in the ring and risk his life. And I think this reprieve on criticism is a weird way to discuss fighters, because we have to be able to discuss who's better and who's worse. That's literally our job.
As a referee that I've been for 35 years, I've been in there with some of the best fighters and some of the worst ones.
Yes, sir.
And no matter what, in boxing, as a referee, our job is to watch out for the safety of the fighters. Now, of course, we also have doctors that advise us and tell us what signs to look for. But one of the things that's most important is that I feel that the trainers themselves have to know they should know their fighter. They should know what to pull him back a little bit. Don't overtrain him. Don't have him lose so much weight so quick. There's a lot that goes on with boxing, or a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scene. There's the lifestyle of that fighter. If he's drinking, if he's running around, staying up late, not training properly, all of that can have an effect on you in the fight. And your defense, of course, you see Floyd Mayweather as a fighter, they call it the sweet side.
He's got all his faculties. His face is still beautiful. Yeah.
The name of the game is hit and don't get hit. But there's some trainers out there. Somebody was asking me a few minutes ago about the fighters not having a great defense. Why is it that these fighters are allowed to fight this way? Sometimes it's not their fault. It's a trainer. You got trainers who claim to be trainers. You have to. I believe sometimes you got to train the trainers. There's only a handful of good trainers out there.
Yeah.
I know about boxing. I don't want to see trainers get in there, take these fighters' lives and put them in your hands. You're not qualified. It's like putting a surgeon to do surgery on somebody. He doesn't qualify. That patient can die. You got to have your life in hands of a good doctor. Same thing applies with a fighter. Your lives are at stake. So you want a good referee there. You want a good commission, good ringside doctor, and especially a good trainer to guide you in the right direction so you don't take unnecessary punishment.
Joe, am I correct in saying, though, that sometimes these things just happen? I mean, you look at a guy, you look at this fight, like you look at Dadashev. He's got one of the greatest trainers in the world in Buddy McGirt. Buddy McGirt stops the fight when he sees he says, I'm stopping this right now. And they get rushed into emergency surgery right away, and the guy still dies. I mean, you look at the other guy, look at Santillan.
I mean, you could be the best driver in the world. Are you going to have an accident? Yeah, it can happen.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Sometimes it's just part of the sport. It's a risk that's inherent.
Yes, in any sport. You got this car racing. I mean, this car racing, it doesn't happen all the time, but there are accidents with car racers die.
Absolutely. Actually, where car racers die.
You got the horseback riding. There's
people die in that. People die in luge. People die in football. People die all the time.
Yeah, so, the thing is, but what it is that boxing is such a sport. You say, 'cause you're in there actually really trying to knock a guy's head off, and they call that brutal sport. You're not really trying to hurt somebody. I know when I was a fighter, I wasn't trying to hurt somebody. I was just trying to win.
You're playing the sport.
And after the final bell rang, we hug each other, embrace each other. But that's the sport. Name of the game is to try to win.
Try to win. I mean, that's the whole reason you're getting that.
And you know what hurt your opponent so much? Knock him out.
Exactly. Then he goes to sleep, wakes up.
That's it. He said, what happened?
Yeah, what happened to me?
Nothing happened.
He said, you lost. Now keep your hand down. I'm going to put mine up in the air.
Yeah. But no, there's... talking about your Manny Pacquiao. The people are saying, Joe, is he on some kind of performing drugs? I mean, is he doing drugs all these years? No. Manny Pacquiao's been clean. I mean, they do all kinds of tests on fighters. Manny, some people, you know what? You got nothing better to talk about. Talk about the good, positive side about Manny Pacquiao. Why he's so great. Don't think that he's some kind of meds or something that got him to where he's at. The man is just a superstar. He's one of the best out there. I hate when you put guys down because they're doing so great. But that happens in life too.
It happens in life too, baby.
Yeah,
you know that.
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta. Let's talk about a little bit more boxing, which I love doing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Jose Ramirez beating Maurice Hooker. That was considered basically a 50-50 fight this weekend, and he ended up taking him in the 6th round TKO stoppage. It was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, it was.
He already had the WBC belt. He ended up taking the WBO belt. Now on the other side of the street, you got two gentlemen named Regis Prograis and Josh Taylor. Regis Prograis has the WBA belt. Josh Taylor has the IBF belt. They're fighting each other in the World Boxing Super Series final.
Right.
When they win, it's all but set up for that winner to unify with Jose Ramirez for the ultimate unification belt. Now I have a question. We just came off of an era that had another 140-pound unified champion named Terrence Crawford.
Right.
Is the 140-pound division easier to unify, or is it just lucky selection of circumstances? I mean, why? How come all these other divisions have champions that never fight each other, never meet each other, and 140-pound has no problem unifying back-to-back times?
It's just it's the way you deal your cards. I mean, you shuffle a deck and then you deal the cards, whatever comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes some fighter like Terrence Crawford, I mean, he's one of the best out there.
Oh yeah.
You don't see him in the mix. I mean, you got to change the deck.
Yeah, sometimes, man.
Just change that deck and reshuffle the cards again, see what happens.
That's all just
But
politics,
all got to do with the promoters, the television networks, and whatnot. I hate to see the networks get involved when it comes to approving certain fights because I mean, it's good for the networks, but then again, the promoters are the ones that are putting these fights together. But the ones who really lose out by not getting the fight are the fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's more promoters than it is networks, although the networks do step in from time to time to say, hey, really though, the networks step in if they think a match isn't good enough, right? Because they want to sell tickets. They want to sell, or not tickets, but they want to get views. So they say, hey, that fight's not going to sell. We got to replace it. So you get a little of that. You get a lot of this. Speaking of stuff like that, speaking of promoters, speaking of getting views, speaking of attractions, we have no Canelo Alvarez fight on September 16th weekend.
Man,
This is how does something like this happen, Joe? Who dropped the ball? How did they drop the ball? How does this? Because it's the biggest fight weekend of the year for Mexican fans. Mexican fans run this sport. How does the face of the sport? How does he not fight on his weekend? Talk to me, Joe. Tell me what's going on.
Talk to you? I don't know if I can talk to you because it's like what's going on. I don't even know. I'm speechless when it comes to this because how can it be that Canelo Alvarez, the big superstar, the Mexican superstar, is not able to fight Mexican Independence Day?
They can't find an opponent that suits him, his team, and DAZN all on that weekend. They can't find anybody?
You know what? I'm going to get my Mexican sombrero.
You going out there?
I'm going to put on my boxing gear back on, get back in there.
You think 160, 168? Which one of his belts were you?
I'll take 68. It could be hard for me to make 160. But I'll tell you, I mean,
you don't want to weight drain too much.
I mean, come on, but I mean, it is unbelievable how can you find a Mexican independence that you don't have a fight being put together for that. I mean, you know what happens? Time goes by so quick, and so there's not enough time. You say, oh my God, September's right around the corner.
Yeah, it is coming up soon.
I mean, I've seen fights being put together, but you know one thing? I said, let's do something different this year. Let's put all the good amateur fighters out there.
Right there?
Let them all come into the MGM Arena, T-Mobile Arena. Let the place sell out for free and bring these amateurs. Let the amateurs showcase their styles, what they got left.
On Mexican Independence weekend?
Yeah, make it a nice weekend for something special for the fans. If you can't go in Las Vegas without a fight on the weekend. Mexican Independence weekend?
Yeah.
Or we get Charlie Carrillo. Let Charlie get out there, put on his boxing gloves.
Yeah.
And it makes you make you believe you're throwing punches.
He's shadow boxing over there.
He's shadow boxing over there.
He's training. He's warming up over there.
Okay.
Yeah, that is crazy, man. How that happened. It's a weird thing because somebody dropped the ball. I'm not here pointing fingers, but that has to happen. You have to have a fight on that weekend. Although I'll give credit where it's due. I'm glad at the 11th hour, like last week when they announced it, that they didn't just throw some random opponent in there.
Right.
I'd rather see Canelo fight a month later against someone who's a decent opponent than have them throw together like we ended up having to do on Cinco de Mayo weekend last year when you had Triple G have to end up fighting Vanes Martirosyan because his original opponent Canelo Alvarez was unable to unable to.
I bet you if you get some who this is Chavez makes a comeback.
Yeah.
Fighting back in Las Vegas September 6th for Mexican Independence Day.
El Gran Campeón.
He will sell out again.
Brother, he could shadow box and sell out on Mexican Independence Weekend. For sure.
Yeah, him, and you can put Juan Manuel Marquez, and you can put you know what, his son Julio Chavez Jr. The name alone.
Yeah,
but,
I think he beat his son right now, even at this age.
He could beat his son.
I think he beat him. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think he'd win.
But I tell you that some of these fighters today, they're really outstanding fighters out there. But Cinco de Mayo weekend, last year we had no fights, right?
No, last year on Cinco de Mayo, well, we had, like I said, Triple G versus Martirosyan, but exactly.
There was no Mexican fighter.
No Mexican fighter on Cinco de Mayo weekend. They almost threw him in with Jaime Munguia, but thank goodness for him.
They were talking about Jesse Vargas, Jaime Munguia. Why not that fight for September?
I would like that fight for both of them, man. I would
mean,
like
yeah,
that fight.
two Mexican warriors. That'd be a good match.
And it would be they're both with DAZN, so DAZN could still own the weekend if they wanted to. You know what I mean? It wouldn't hurt for either one of them to do that, man.
I think we should start talking about that. Not too late. I know Jesse Vargas is in shape. He's always in shape. I know Jaime Munguia is in shape. They're ready. We should try to make that fight fans. Put it out there. Let's make that fight happen. Munguia and Vargas here in Las Vegas for Mexican Independence Weekend.
Who you got in that fight, Joe?
I got to go with Jesse Vargas.
Me too. I think Jesse Vargas wins that fight too.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesse Vargas, look, did he look great against, Manny Pacquiao or Adrian Broner? No. But he's still, a two-time world champion at 147?
Yeah.
Going up against Jaime Munguia, who debatably lost his last fight. I mean, this is I like Jaime Munguia. I think he's got a ton of potential. He's still very young. But, yeah, I think Jesse Vargas wins that fight too.
He's undefeated, right?
Yes, sir.
He's undefeated. I mean, he didn't look outstanding in his last fight, but he's a good opponent for Jesse Vargas.
Yeah.
I think it'll be good for.
I'd watch it.
Yeah, me
Absolutely.
too. Me too. Absolutely. They're good fights. I mean, I don't want to. Maybe we should become promoters.
We should become promoters. We can
or at least
I promise you, we can get a fight done on September 16th.
For sure, man. If we don't get it, him and I get in the ring.
We'll pop it. Yeah, that's what they should do.
Or you know what? Or we get the promoters. Let the promoters fight each other.
Would love Eddie Hearn and De La Hoya.
Yeah, that's
Who you got in that fight?
I gotta go with. Let me see.
I like this one.
Huh?
I like this one.
Yeah.
Because Eddie Hearn's what, 6'5"?
6'5". Oscar De La Hoya will have to be hitting this guy in the kneecap. This guy's so damn tall.
Exactly. He's way bigger.
No, but these promoters got to get together and work something out. If you can't get your fighters to fight, get yourself to fight with somebody. Do
get
something.
in there. Yeah, put on a show. Learn how to sing and dance or something.
Yeah,
get up there and put on a show for the people. You're a promoter. Oh, man.
Okay, they say Floyd Mayweather, what are fans out there asking is, Floyd Mayweather says he's the best ever. What really makes a fighter the greatest? Well, that's a good question.
That's an excellent question. I love this question, Joe. You go.
I always say you can be the greatest, but you can't be the greatest by yourself. It depends who you're fighting along the way. You need a good dance partner. In other words,
quality of competition?
Yeah. You can't go out there and fight a bunch of nobodies.
Tijuana taxi drivers?
And call yourself the greatest. You got to fight a good fighter like Muhammad Ali. He will fight Ken Norton. He fought Larry Holmes. He fought Jerry Quarry. He fought so many great.
Yes.
He fought so many great fighters out there. And he fought great fighters.
Sonny Liston.
Sonny Liston. So to be the greatest, you got to be great fighters out there. You're not going to make it on your own. I hope that answers your question.
Quality of competition. I think absolutely quality of competition matters. The era you're in matters. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Right.
Vladimir Klitschko dominated the heavyweight division for 11 years, but he's never talked about as the greatest heavyweight of all time because he just didn't ever fight. And that's not his fault. It's just kind of the way it went. It's the way the chips fell. So, yeah, quality of competition, quality of opposition, those are absolutely important. I'll say to Mayweather's point of being the best ever, I think best ever is obviously super subjective because you have, so many weight classes, so many eras. The fight game has changed so much in so many ways. But at the same time, I think he has an argument. I don't think there is one greatest ever. I think there's, a lot of people that are in that conversation. But I will say to Mayweather's credit, if you define a successful boxing career as the most money made with the least amount of damage inflicted to your body, he's the best ever. He made the most amount of money and took the least amount of punishment. And I think in that, if that's how you judge it, then he's the one.
Yeah, and you can talk about great fighters. There's a lot of great fighters coming up, and not necessarily money-wise or pay-per-view-wise, but they are their way up there. You got Devin Haney.
Devin Haney's going to be the one probably on September 16th weekend headlining that thing.
We don't know. We'll see. It's coming. It could be. And then you have Gervonta Davis, who's a good fighter. You have so many Lomachenko. There are a lot of great fighters out there. And Dan Hewitt, our friend, I think you're a great fighter as well. We wish you the best. Our friends at United Kingdom. for watching the show and being we're part of the team together now, so we're making things work hand in hand. We're trying to get all our British fans out there to join forces with us. We want to make sure that we give you guys the best contents available to you when it comes to boxing, all the information. We want to make sure that you keep following us around the world. We're here in this big arena here at the Heads Up Museum. The Heads Up Museum, you have the internet, you have the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame, and you have the international audience out there watching us. But look at the beautiful arena we're in right now.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Look at the fans out
Gorgeous.
there. Thousands of fans behind us. They're all yelling.
Exactly.
Hey, we want to wish you the very best, fans. And
make sure you share. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow us on iTunes. Make sure you follow us on Spotify podcast app. Make sure you follow us on Autoboom. Make sure you go on YouTube if you like looking at us. If you don't like looking at us, you have all those other options. Make sure you follow us on Facebook Live. We're always on there. Make sure you ask questions. Make sure you leave comments. We appreciate everything you guys do. Thank you for letting us do this. I appreciate it.
And Greg and our friends out there, Jackie back in New York, all our fans, we love you guys. Take care. Talk to you soon.
Fair but firm with the Hall of Fame boxing referee. I'm Joe Cortez for all of Las Vegas. Come on, guys, let's touch them up. Clean fight. I'm Joe Cortez. Fair but firm.